He's right next to me. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm not wrong in that, right? We never used.
No, you know what we used.
Did we use it?
We used maybe a little bit of it. We did that. There's like a little sort of thing that Jillian did. I think we used some.
So it got
of that.
cut into something. Okay.
Oh, in show, like then we use like
No,
some of the
no.
beat.
There's that Bearsville or whatever. That's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think some of it is in there.
Release Bearsville. It's in Bearsville. It's
Oh,
in
it
there.
is
slightly
Release
wrong.
it.
Oh okay.
Isn't it out there?
Yeah.
No, you know what?
Like,
No, not
how
that
much?
show isn't either.
Just a little bit.
No?
It's not on iTunes. Because it's a production company, probably.
Oh yeah, it's not because of us.
So we're trying
We
to
kind of got our money's worth then. There you go.
Amanda from
I know what I'm
Pittsburgh,
talking
Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh wants to know, what is your typical daily touring schedule like while on tour?
day-to-day touring schedule?
Depends on
Your day-to-day on tour.
Yes.
What's your schedule?
It depends on the
3 to
state of the
11.
tour.
3 to 11. We're the second shift. 3 to 11.
Yeah, basically, like our day usually starts at we'll have sound check at 3. Sometimes we'll do sound check, sometimes we won't. We do them probably more often. I mean, actually, sorry, we do them less often now than we did in the beginning. And then we we'll usually have like a meet and greet or something like that, and then we'll do, go and eat dinner, and then the show sort of starts. We'd like to warm up, like when the Goos were with us, we'd sort of kind of like midway through their set. Like if you'd ever see us watching side of the stage, about midway, we'd sort of leave, because we go and start, warming up and getting ready. Then you play the show, and then that's it.
Yeah, like,
but the real, I do want to take this opportunity to say, like, the guys that work for us are there, like, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Let's hear it for this one.
And they set it up, and they tear it down, and they sleep very little, and they do this every single day, and it's it's a big thing to set up that show.
Almost all of them.
Sharon from Marion, Virginia wants to know, if you could collaborate with any singer, songwriter, musician from the past, who would it be?
John Lennon.
A lot of hypothetical.
I think John Lennon because I could show that guy a melody. Yeah, I apologize. Obviously, it's so not true that it's obviously a joke. Today is, by the way, it's the anniversary of his death.
Missed an opportunity.
Did you know?
Let it be. You thought Paul McCartney missed an opportunity during the na-na part.
I'm not even going there.
I'm gonna say Stevie Ray Vaughan would be kind of rad. He's actually one of those guys that's had a bigger influence on my life than I think he did, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I had the opportunity to play with Double Trouble and a tribute thing, so it kind of feels like unresolved. So I would have to say Stevie Ray.
You know that band from the insurance commercials? FreeCreditScore.com?
Yeah.
I want to work with those guys.
These guys write some catchy hooks.
We haven't had high harmonies in a while. How about Jeff Buckley?
And they can jam while they're driving. I think that's a fucking pretty solid talent.
Abby from Marion, Virginia wants to know, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
In music or just in general?
In music.
Your manager works for you.
Learn the rules so that you can then break them.
It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Is that musical advice?
I know the reference for that.
Yeah.
Is that musical advice?
Sometimes.
I actually touched on this a little bit last night, actually. The idea that when you're creating something, that it's not your job to judge it. You just have to create it, and then you can kind of go back and realize what it is after that. But if you're judging it as you're doing it, then you're totally ruining the process, and you're just going to stop yourself. So that was probably the best. And you gave me that advice. Yeah.
Stephanie from Hershey, Pennsylvania. I think that's her right there. Said, I read somewhere that you wanted to name the band Larry. Can you elaborate on that and where the name Matchbox 20 originated?
For a second, it was Larry, but just because, like, the idea of, like, when somebody was talking, hey, like, what do you do? I'm in a band. What's it called? Larry. Tonight, what are you guys gonna do? Oh, we're gonna go see Larry. Larry's playing. It just seemed awesome to me.
Can you also elaborate?
You know where it came from, though? You know where it originally came from? When I used to deliver beds. I like drove a bed truck and I would deliver beds to people's houses, and I did it because I thought that, like, delivering beds, it's like I'm gonna meet hot girls and they're gonna want to try the bed with me. Never happened.
I like that.
So I delivered the beds, and there was a little club, and it said appearing tonight, Larry. And I was just like, oh, Larry's playing. That's great. Paul made up Matchbox 20.
Yeah. There's not really a great story for it. There was a lot of stories for it. We used to make up stories all the time because the reality of it is, and we needed a name. We were throwing a lot of ideas out there, and that's just one that popped in my head. And initially, it was like passed over. No one was interested in it.
Adam really wanted us to be called Big Shoe Spiders. I mean, he really wanted it.
Yeah.
And then we were almost called Wood. We were very close to being called Wood. And Twill. Nobody's gonna buy a Twill record.
But one night, we were at a place. There was a place in Florida called the Mill, which is where I used to work there, and we used to play there a lot.
Waiter of the month.
I was. I got better. Wait. And there was like this super drunk frat dude there, and Rob goes, "Hey man," and I don't remember maybe it was Twill or whatever. Like, what band would you go see, Twill or Matchbox 20? He was like, Matchbox 20. We're like, okay, that wins.
It sounds good when he yells it.
Yeah.
And then it passed what we would at the time. This is how old we are. We called it the Kurt Loder test. You know, like I can imagine Kurt Loder popping on and going, "This week, Matchbox 20 released their new." Oh, okay, yeah, passed the Kurt Loder test.
Actually,
To this day, when we have demos, we like to go to colleges and just play the roughs, and you know, depending on how the frat guys react is how we decide whether
that's how I make every decision in my life.
Goes out.
Like
A lot of what we do.
Do I want eggs or oatmeal? Oatmeal.
A lot of what we do is based off of drunk frat reaction, so there's some people don't necessarily realize that about it.
Gabriella from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah!
Wants to know, what is something each of you know you do differently than most people?
Well, I'm not going to say it, but we've known each other for a very long time, so I know certain things about each one of these guys and how they do some shit different than anybody else, but we're not going to talk about it. Because even if we're throwing out the F-bomb,
This isn't an
it's still a family
expose,
mode.
kids.
I don't know.
We do different. I don't think that's what you say about yourself.
Okay, what's your answer?
I hold my fork. I probably hold my fork
Who's doing
when
it,
I
guys?
eat different
Who's
than
doing
most
it?
of y'all.
How do other people do it?
I don't know how other people do it. Sometimes they do that, but they can't change the pitch.
Really?
I never knew you could do that.
That's why it's a good question. RDU.
Is it weird that I want to sleep with you now?
I think it's weird you said now.
Moving on.
Matthew from Oshkosh wants to know.
Oshkosh?
That is it.
Oshkosh Bagash?
Wants to know,
You know,
out
there
of
was a
all your accomplishments, personal and professional, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment and why?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say it as an accomplishment, but I mean, my daughter.
You did.
But I mean, we all understand how that works. I didn't do much.
You did enough.
No, I did awesome.
Donation.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you said it's
Yeah,
an
right.
accomplishment,
I'm with
really.
that too. You
Yeah.
know, it would feel wrong to put some sort of like achievement that the band had above the fact that I have two healthy daughters that are really intelligent and beautiful people. And
I'm most proud of Kyle's daughters.
a slight hand in raising probably because I was so busy making Matchbox 20 music.
You have kids?
Sarah from Grinnell, Iowa wants to know, if you could sum up your life with one record, what would it be? Paul just said.
Green from REM. that was a very pinnacle record for me. It was a record that sort of when I was a kid, when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is what I like. Up until then, I listened to the radio, kind of got music however and got it. But that record was like the first time I was obsessed with the record. And it's still when I'll break it out sometimes to go like, oh yeah, bring me back to that point.
Abbey Road, absolutely. I've actually had moments where I learned all the guitar of the entire record, and then I'm like, now my mission is to learn the bass parts of the entire record, and then also the drum parts. Like that's one of those obsessive records for me, so Abbey Road.
Mine isn't, I'm not sure if it's either, my first record I ever owned was a Willie Nelson record it was called Greatest Hits and Some That Will Be.
That's such a great song.
So awesome. But then also, I gotta say, you know what was big for me? Because everything about me was that it was those two worlds. The other one was the Pretty in Pink soundtrack.
That's funny. I totally hear that. Yeah, I mean with like things like Waiting on a Train.
That's so you guys.
Dick Kershaw, like that kind of stuff going on there.
Jamie wants to know, what 5 people from any time in history would you like to have dinner with?
People?
Yeah, okay, here. Jesus,
This is we're in the imaginary world portion.
I want to sit down and sort all that shit out.
That one.
All right, Stacy from Woodbridge, Illinois. Hi, Stace.
How did you get the hot tub real estate? You guys had me here early?
Where is your favorite place to visit when you're not on tour? A place to just visit when you go on vacation. What's your favorite place?
I hate going on vacation. When I'm and I'm not even kidding. Like we tour so much that like when we're not touring, much to the people in my life's dismay, I do not want to leave town. I just
want to leave his house.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I just want to be home.
For me, I think Greece. Greece was a really magical place for me. Going to Santorini.
Not terribly far from here, Jamaica. My wife and I kind of fell in love with Jamaica, and if you haven't been, the people are just amazing. Full of wisdom and just hope. And, evidently, you have a lot of hope when you're high.
I love going down to the Florida Keys, which is actually just south of here, hanging out and doing island living on island time. So it's a little bit like Jamaica.
Tandra from Spring Hill, Florida.
Are you taking credit? You're taking credit for questions that you didn't even ask, aren't you?
She's from everywhere.
3, buddy.
She's ubiquitous.
She says, what song is your favorite to do a cover of?
You know what I miss? I miss doing Jet.
Yeah, Jet was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
I always love it when we do Bowie songs too.
For some reason, that's in the thing. We've done like 5 of them.
Yeah, I mean, what's that?
Maybe tonight you can do one of those.
Don't Let Me Down. Don't Let Me Down was fun.
Don't Let Me Down was
Don't
awesome.
Let Me Down was fun. It's one of my favorite
That was
songs.
really fun. That's my favorite.
Right now, it's the Stones.
Yeah.
He's having fun to the Stones.
All right, Joni from Downey, Idaho. Joni wants to know, if you could have played the starring role in any movie ever made, who and what would you have been and why?
I want to be 1970s Luke Skywalker. I want to be Mark Hamill in like Empire Strikes Back.
You sort of used to have his hair too.
I did, because I wanted to be him when I was a kid.
I totally did.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve Superman, for sure.
Not a huge movie buff. I mean,
He doesn't like movies. Isn't that weird?
Tony and Scarface. Why the fuck not? Like, who would want to be that guy? I know he dies. I know. I get it.
There was a movie I watched on my computer. It was a very small little screen.
Naked girls.
There was, some movie. The guy starring in that movie seemed to have a good job.
Oh my god!
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Oh my god! Shit! Paul goes blue. Oh my God. What's your name?
All right, Brittany. Brittany Scott from Dallas, Texas.
So,
Brittany Scott from
so what's your
Dallas,
porn name? If you,
It's hold on, Dutch Hillsdale.
that's awesome. Dutch Hillsdale. Porn name.
It's it's like your first pet in the house or the street you grew up on.
In the street that you grew up on?
My first, I lived on a main highway. It was like Highway 301. So I'm just gonna use my dog's name. It was Bigfoot.
My porn name would have been
So-
Rusty Clay. Rusty Clay.
I like it.
Mine's Penny Hemlock.
So you're an alternative porn. Pity.
Anyway,
All right, Brittany Scott from Dallas, Texas wants to know what thoughts are going through your mind while you're on stage in front of thousands of people.
I have to pee.
Hit the right
Last
note.
night I had to pee.
I had to pee the other night.
I really did. There's no bathroom.
I had to pee.
You know what's funny? We think about more than you guys have any idea. Like while we're there, we're watching you. We're watching you guys. We're seeing who's singing, who's not singing, who looks like they're having a good time, who looks like they're just texting their boyfriend. We're watching everything go on. Who's got their arms crossed? And if you're like the one guy that looks like you're not having fun, we're gonna play at you until you have fun. Yeah.
Quite honestly, we don't have any more control of our thoughts than you guys do. You know what I mean? So whenever you're at work and the shit's just drifting, that's what's happening to us on stage sometimes.
I mean, definitely not all the time. You definitely have those moments. Like we just did Rock in Rio, and so like you go and you do that, and you just see the amount of people who are just singing along to it's a country that we hadn't ever been to, and a lot of people were there, and you have that moment where you're like, wow, I remember writing this song in the living room or whatever.
It's
and
funny.
then all these
In my head, at moments like that, I'm just going, don't fuck up, don't fuck up, don't fuck up.
See, so I had a good moment like that, but I gotta say, like 5 minutes before that, I was watching what was happening production-wise and realizing that things weren't working and trying to get them to get. It took me out of the thing for a couple songs.
That's why I had that happen.
All right, Stephanie from Cambridge wants to know. Stephanie Richards wants to know what song means the most to you personally. Stephanie from Cambridge.
For me, it's probably 3 a.m. I mean, for a few reasons. One, it's having to do with my mother who passed away, but also it being like what I consider like the first song that I ever wrote that I thought other people would want to listen to. So that's always been really special. I put it as a big special moment for me, and also like just for us as a collective. Like that was kind of our beginning direction of like, oh, this is a good song. And it would get played on like the local radio stations. You sit there all night waiting for Surfer Dave, God rest his soul, to play your song on like 106.7. Like the local hour from 8 to 9, and you sit there with all your friends around the radio just waiting for that to come on. It was a good time. We love you back.
I should go with that too because I think that's the 3 a.m. is kind of the reason that when I was given a demo tape by Matt Soletic, who is our producer, I had 4 songs on it. Tired, 3 a.m., maybe like Forever December. I'm trying to think of the fourth.
Do you ever notice when you go back through all those old songs? I was like tired, angry,
Maybe
sad,
Dear Joan
lonely.
or something like that. But
It's always in it.
But 3 a.m. was kind of the reason I was like, that's a really great song. It's like I see people want to hear that for years and years to come. I want to be involved in this band. Sign me up. Let's meet. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with that personally and professionally.
Paula from Stevensville, Ontario, Canada.
Hi, Paula.
Paula wants to know what is the funniest thing that's ever happened on stage.
Rob fell off once.
That was funny.
This is great. This is awesome. So like we're playing, and there was an orchestra pit, and he didn't see it. So and I wasn't I was playing drums at the time, so I kind of wasn't looking at him. And I'm listening, I'm hearing him sing, and all of a sudden I just hear. I'm okay.
I went deep too.
Was a shock outline. Wasn't there? The next
Yeah,
day.
the next
was a
day,
chalk
I come to the next theater that we were playing, and when I get up on stage, the crew had made this like chalk outline of my body on the floor. With a little microphone in his hand.
I mean, I gotta say, a lot of funny stuff happens that, like,
It's funny to us.
it's just funny. It's like there's a lot, like, you know, going back to like what we're thinking about. A lot of times we're having inner conversations about maybe like continuing a joke that we, you know, had going before. Like, I always want him to try to like pick a word and slip it into a song and see if anyone will notice that he did. So like,
What's up, everybody? Milkshake.
you know, like so we laugh quite a lot.
Yeah, we have a lot of inside jokes.
A lot of funny stuff.
Usually the moments are, I don't know if you guys ever pick up on it, it's either A, right before long day,
Yeah.
because I'm waiting like, and I look at you, and I'm like, I'm gonna start, I'm not gonna start, and I'm gonna start.
The only way I know Rob's gonna start singing along, we have to come in at the same time. The only way I know he's gonna start is he does this. He takes a breath in, and the whole game is I'm gonna throw you off.
Then there's always a moment, it seems like right before bright lights. Like I can't tell you the amount of times that we're like, I'll go to sit down and Paul comes over and we start like literally having a conversation, and then in the middle of it we're like, everybody's waiting for the song to start and we're just like, oh, you know what, we'll get back to this later. I think we should probably pay attention to the show instead of this conversation that we're having about where we're gonna go eat after the show.
Ali Miller from Blackpool, Lancashire, England. I think that's in a song. How great is that? Wants to know, what was the song that you had the most fun recording?
Wow.
That's, you remember when I
Recording's
said, I like to remember when I was talking about how we laugh a lot, not while we're making records.
Writing. What about writing?
Writing,
Working on.
well, this record in general, I think there was a lot of mirth. You know what I mean? Like with all of us kind of hanging out in the room and coming up with these ideas and throwing ideas. Mirth.
What does that mean?
Happiness and fun. Much merriment.
Awesome. I learned a word today.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, we have a lot of fun, and we definitely, you know, like I said, we laugh a lot. But that does happen live. When we're making a record, there's a great quote like Ben Affleck had that was like, if having fun making a movie was a requirement for making a good movie, then Cannonball Run would have been the best movie ever made. And that's kind of, making a record is kind of the same thing. It's sort of like, there's a little bit of pressure in it. There's a little isolating
everybody's kind of like, we come in and like you lay down the bed of a song, but then everybody's kind of in their own world, like when they do their part. Like we all come in, like sometimes we're not even there. We'll put his drum part, you know, and then do a piano part, and then we'll go away and come up the next day to do guitar.
Less song oriented, but more like Mad Season was fun because, you know, the first album there was a lot of pressure. You know, as you said, we didn't really, you know, we weren't that accustomed to the recording process and what the dynamic was, and we kind of made that quick. And then after the success of that first record, we kind of could do whatever, we could take whatever risks we wanted sonically, whatever risks we wanted recording-wise on Mad Season. So that was kind of fun. I mean,
The cabinet was nice.
I think
I think you are.
doesn't mean we nailed it, but it means we had a lot of fun doing it.
Cynthia from Salem wants to know, do you... Oh, there she is. Oh, she's a music teacher.
Okay.
So, I will read it as it said. Do you remember your elementary school music teacher